What's the worst business idea you've seen someone try to execute? At a place I used to work, we supplied printing companies with their ink. Being that digital printing is well and truly established at the point, there wasn't a whole lot of business for this type of ink anymore. So there was a lot of competition between suppliers. One of the technicians somehow weaseled his way to the top despite no business experience. When he was told to very simply make more money, rather than go out and find new customers, his bright idea was to make our company's ink weaker, with the intention that our customers will just have to buy more product to complete their jobs. Surprise. The customers didn't like that and went to competitors. Business was closed within a year. Top for me has got to be a client of a design firm I used to work at. He was a trucker. His wife was a trucker. He wanted to make a sanitary pad that wouldn't need to be changed. Imagine a pad with a little line running down to a micro vacuum strapped to your leg, exhausting into another leg bag. Basically a pad that sucks the juices into a bag you can chuck in the trash later. Edit. Just to be clear, this was specifically a menstrual pad you are meant to wear for days at a time. Edit 2. Lots of y'all are mentioning the Purewick. The challenge this one would have had to solve was passing chunky menstrual blood, ladies you know what's up, through a tiny tube. If you're wondering how they solved it, they didn't lol. Also here's another good one. One client wanted a vape that just blew pot smoke into the air for the purpose of hotboxing his car. He had money, so hey, one of the engineers designed a little turbine, like a small turbocharger, the size of a cherry. Damn if it didn't work way too well. But the high-pitched screeching noise that turbine made. Sheesh. Can't believe no one mentioned that guy who went on Shark Tank to pitch a Bluetooth earpiece that you got surgically implanted in your ear canal that you charged by sticking a needle in your ear while you slept. Somebody thought it would be a good idea to open a dance club in my northern Canadian city with a dress code. 90% of the population is tradesmen and miners who only own car hoods and high-vis. Needless to say, it shut down within 6 months. I once saw someone pitch a restaurant/massage combo where you could eat your meal while receiving massage therapy, the laying on a table kind. An old local pub legend. Friend of mine won £400k ish, around $500k at the time, on the lottery. So he decides to buy two tanning salons opposite each other thinking that he had an instant monopoly. But the problem came when he started getting them to compete with one another. The managers at each salon began a pricing war and he was broke in 6 months. In my college town there was a cereal restaurant. Why make a bowl of cereal at home when you can pay $5 for someone else to do it? Not surprisingly, it closed soon after opening. A lady opened a Southern soul food buffet in my city. It was incredible. Amazing food. On some days, it was a buffet with a rotating menu depending on the day of the week. And those days were not equal. So what happened was people would go on an off day, be unimpressed, not come back, or come on one of the better days, love it, come back on an off day, then never come back. I was so disappointed. I would donate towards reopening that restaurant, but with only the optimal menu. Every day, that woman has serious culinary talent. We have a small-time theme park in my state called Evermore, and they thought it would be a good idea to try and sue Taylor Swift over her album of the same name. There was a bar that opened up in my city and their entrance was hidden. They did a news story and they refused to tell the paper where it was actually located. To everyone's complete surprise, they only stayed open for a couple of weeks. In my country there was a guy who used to sell wood. The problem was he did not have any of it. So he would ask for payment and then not give the product afterwards, hoping that procrastination and time will make the problem go away. He did 4 years in jail. In about 2005 my friend's dad tried to start an arcade in a small town just outside walking distance from a school using beat up second-hand machines. To get there from the schoolyard have to walk by an established larger arcade that also sold food. Edit for the actually crowd. I guess it was walking distance, just not a convenient walking distance. Sorry for poor wording. father-in-law drove 18 hours down to Florida to catch shrimp. Filled his tiny car with tons of the shrimp and drove back. It took days to vacuum, seal the shrimp that hadn't gone bad, only to sell a few bags to some friends. The car smelled like seafood for years. Context: I live in Las Vegas. When I was in my 20s, I was hired by a man who wanted to build me space for strippers. His goal was for the men on the site to pay him to follow their favorite strippers and know what clubs they were dancing at and when. He shut the project down after months of paying me when he found out that no stripper would sign up for it. When I was in high school, one of my friends wanted to start a little coffee shop / hot chocolate stand with a cuddle corner and free hugs for anyone who wants them. She offered jobs to our other friends, ex. The idea was that this little business would be operated and staffed by high schoolers. She failed to see the issue with having 16-year-old girls required give free hugs to customers or having to staff the cuddle corner. One of the younger dudes in my karate class was going to start a handyman business. 24H. Anything needing to be done. Anywhere in our district. Sounds good. You gonna get a loan and buy a used truck and get some tools. And you never have talk time on your phone. So will you get a landline? 2006. So not super outlandish? No. I'll go on my bicycle. And I'll just use the tools they have. And they can email me when they need service. Right, because when I have water spraying out of my geyser through the ceiling at 3 AM I'm going to email a dude on a bicycle to come fix it using all the tools and the ladder I don't own. I have a friend whose family has gotten involved in multiple pyramid schemes. And every single time they get into a new pyramid scheme, they claim it's not a pyramid scheme. No, you don't get it. I am the boss. Once I produce 5 clients for my mentor, then I keep all my new clients and they have to get me 5 new clients each. It's people helping people. There was a guy in my town that opened a business that was the equivalent of a brick and mortar version of Craigslist or newspaper classified ads. It was a unit in a strip mall with bulletin boards. You paid to put an ad up and other people came to look at the ads with a small picture. This was after Craigslist existed, not some pre-internet thing. There was no actual merchandise in the store. Just crappy pictures of stuff with the contact info. It wasn't even a high foot traffic location. You had to maneuver through a busy intersection, park and go inside to look at a bulletin board. It went under, and he tried to blame the landlord because he couldn't get a sign permit for the end of the building, even though he had 2 other signs. Someone in Edmonton, Canada opened a dairy store, milk and cheese, and placed it across the street from a large grocery store. He hoped that shoppers would buy everything they needed at the grocery store, except their milk and cheese, which the grocery store had ample supply of, and make another trip to their store for milk and cheese. It didn't last. Edit. Wow. I woke up to a whole lot of responses. Many people brought up specialty places, butcher shops, artisanal stores, etc. Which, yes, can be a great thing. The place I'm talking about just supplied the same big dairy milk at the same prices. And no fancy cheese. It was only really convenient when you only needed a carton of milk and didn't want to deal with a huge parking lot and the hassle of a massive store. But like I said, it didn't last long at all. Guy I know got a small inheritance. Enough for a deposit on a unit or small house. Nope. Seahorse farm. Turns out seahorses are difficult to breed